Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Working Man Ron Doyle. My girlfriend and I had a little problem at her house this past winter. She had a septic backup in the house, and I asked her about risers, if she had risers on her septic tank. She did not have risers. We were in the dead of winter and had to dig frozen ground. So this video is about installing risers on your septic system. As you can see, I've already got both of these risers poured, and we are going to release the form on that one right there. It is a 2x6 form. It's formed around it. I'm going to release the form. We're going to dig one more riser for the lift station right there. So hopefully you all like the video, and stay tuned, and I'll show you how to do a poured concrete riser on the lift station. I'll give you a little closer look on what this looks like. Now what you're looking at is a 5,000 psi mix of ready concrete in 50-pound bags. Was bought from Home Depot, and each one of these pours was 7 bags. So you're right at 350 pounds each. I went over the form, and then I flared and smoothed every one of them out all the way around this Poly-Lok riser. It's a Poly-Lok 24-inch riser cover and 12-inch Poly-Lok ring. They sell these in a 12-inch, a 6, and a 12. So your 6 are on the bottom, 12's on the top. Let's show you what this thing looks like. They give you 2 lift handles that actually swing up. These are not vehicle rated, but they are light traffic. Hand cart, grass cutters, 0-turn lawnmowers, no problem. These 2 holes here, if you decide to cover this with dirt, you put 2 pieces of rebar, 1 in each hole, and that helps you to locate this with a metal detector or metal detecting equipment. So you can drop a short piece of rebar or metal down each one of these. They give you numerous holes around the perimeter. You only have to use about 4 screws to secure this lid so that it doesn't float up. And I would definitely suggest you do at least 4 screws. Some of your high lift blades on your 0-turn lawnmowers have the capability of sucking this lid up into the blades. So this lifts straight off. These handles are replaceable. These rings are actually recycled rings. We bought them used, save a little bit on the price. But they do stack together, and you can see the holes. And then these veins that come up, there's actually a screw in that one. But basically, you slip this down onto the next riser. You can secure the top riser to the bottom riser in any configuration you want. You can do a 6 on the bottom, a 12 in the middle, a 6 on top. Now, using this particular brand of riser, they give you a flat spot, and that's if you have to do an electrical penetration for a lift station, if you need to do another pipe penetration for another drop, or if you need to do a vent off of this. The 12-inch are the only ones with the flat spots. They give you 4 flat spots. They give you 4 flat spots per 12-inch riser. And like I said, the 6-inch do not have one. Let's see if I can separate this. It is gasketed. There's your screw going through, and that's what actually screws to the corresponding ring. But they give you a gasket. These finger flanges interlock into this. It's a pretty nice system. They are kind of costly. The last time I bought these brand new, these were right around 70 bucks. These were right around, I believe, $50. And the lids themselves were in the neighborhood of 40, depending on the size, 40 to 60, depending on the size of the lid. Now, they sell these in 2 sizes that I know of. This is a 24, and they sell a 20, depending on your situation and what size you're trying to marry it to. This riser on these tanks had a 12-inch curb, and it was a 27.5 by 27.5 OD dimension from edge to edge, and I was able to conform the inside dimension from here to here into that square opening, and I'm going to show you what I used to do the transition from the square to round that you see. All right, so I'm going to release this lid. I'm going to give you a little look inside of how this transition is. Don't mind the poo-poo. Let's give you a little bit better look on what I did here. And these are actually the cutouts, which were pieces of a used sign. Most used sign is a marine grade type plywood, multiple layers, made for exterior. It was basically something that my girlfriend had laying around, and we used this marine grade plywood to make a transition. So you take 27.5 by 27.5, and you cut out, we cut out the dimension from the outer part of this flange to the outer part of this flange, and I believe that was a, didn't really have to measure it, so I can't tell you the exact measurement on that, but from the outer part of this to outer part of this, I had to cut these lips off right here. Basically our plywood, marine grade plywood, set on top of this gasketed seal. So when you're looking down in here, try not to drop the camera. I've got some pictures I'm going to add to this video. Our marine grade plywood is just past the inside of that flange, so our marine grade plywood is right here. Let's see if you can see that. See if you can see that. And what you're looking at is 1/2 by 4.5 inch carriage bolts. They're galvanized with washers. There's another washer on the outside that's jam nutted on. So these are a holding point to hold this particular ring into this concrete form. You look on this side here, you see an eyelet. I couldn't get it in galvanized, they didn't have them in the store. This is actually a 6.5 inch eye bolt. It gives you about 4 inches of thread, and I did the same thing on that side. Now you may ask, what is the purpose of this? Okay, if this was a lift station, this would be cable holding for your high and low water level limits. This could be your cable carrier for your pump, so that your cable doesn't fall down in the tank. This is the main discharge from the house, and I am actually going to put a stir stick into this hole here, made out of Schedule 80, a 1 inch Schedule 80 PVC pipe, so that we're able to break up the solids on the surface as general maintenance. The one in that tank has got a another eye bolt, and I'm going to show you what that one's for. All right, so this is the second riser coming from the house. House being there, pipe comes in here into this side. There's a baffle in this septic tank. It goes across here, so most of your solids are going to stay on that side. Your liquids are going to come on this side and separate from the baffle that's in the middle. This particular tank has a screen, so we've added height, because like I said, in the dead of winter we had to dig this ground up, and we're every bit of 12 to 14 inches from where the original lead was. And when we were digging, it was 25 degrees outside. This ground was frozen about down to here. Very hard to break through with a round point shovel, but that's the purpose of doing riser lids, these Poly-Loks risers on your septic system. So her riser, she had built-in square curve risers off of her septic tank top. So her septic tank top is down here. This is the formed riser that's incorporated into her septic tank. So we added an additional height of 12 inches to bring her to grade across here, so that this lead is always at level with grass, so there's no digging in the winter. Looking at this eye bolt, you're may say, well, why do you want an eye bolt in here? Preferably galvanized stainless steel. This is all the hardware store had was zinc, so this is what we got. I'm going to tie a rope to the strainer basket. Let's see. This is the strainer basket that has to be periodically cleaned out to make sure that solids don't get into the lift station. Alright, so we're going to be able to tie a string onto this, so whoever's doing the general maintenance on this doesn't have to stoop so low to grab that thing. The liquids drain off into the lift station that's over there, and the lift station pumps it uphill to get rid of it through the drain distribution. Alright, what we have here are 2x6s, and they are cut on a 15-degree angle so that this form, in essence, when you release one corner and splay the corners out, this whole form you should be able to pull directly up without releasing all four corners. So I'm going to put you on a stand. I'm going to release one corner and show you all how to do it. Alright, let's try this corner right here. It's held together with 3.5 inch deck screws on each corner. And I forgot the hammer. Alright, we're going to give a little love tap on each one of these corners. Now the dirt is around this form, and that's to hold the form centered. Get it down in here. Got one side of the form loose. Got the other side of the form loose. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you put a 15-degree hitch on a form, so you can reuse it. You only have to release one corner. Alright, so you see me take the form off, and what we're going to do to prep for the form on the next go around is we're going to put this form right back together the way we took it apart. Line up my original screw holes. And you can use this thing over and over again as many times as you want, as long as you don't bust the wood. So what we got, I told you wrong. It's actually it's a 2x8 form. You can do this out of 2x4, 2x6, 2x8, however you want to do it. These are actually square cut, but they're cut on a 15-degree bevel going that direction. And every corner's like that. You basically sit this on a flat surface to do your alignments, so your top edge is not going to align right, because I didn't do a 15-degree bevel cut on this and this. I only did the 15-degree on the minors, but this will enable you to lift this form straight up just by separating one corner. Well, if you stuck around this far in the video of the pouring the forms, I'm actually going to show you how to physically do it on this riser station. I'm going to take you through a little bit of what I did to this that might not pertain to what you're doing at your residence or on your job. But you can see the other two risers are at grade. They're easy to access in the wintertime. And this riser station that you see right here is a little bit different story. And I've got it prepped. Didn't get that on video, but I will add pictures to it that you can see right here. I'm going to bring you in for a close-up to show you actually what I did. Alright, so you can see two conduits. They're both 1.25 inches going into the lift pump station. The power that feeds it goes into this pipe. The lines that are coming from the lift station control box are going through this line. Now I'll send some pictures in the video of what it was before. You can see that white piece of PVC. That was the actual end of it. They had all the SJO jacketed wires coming through, going up one piece of conduit, and they had the other feeds going up this piece of conduit. I installed a 90 so that I can compact underneath of it and stabilize that so it doesn't move left or right. You may ask why I put the 90 going this direction instead of the direction that it's coming from. This is the wire that we had left over. This was the extra, and I did not want to cut that off. if you ever have to replace this, you want the extra wire, you can actually turn this 90-degree around and actually cut off some of the length of your wires. So I didn't want to jeopardize a future replacement of the lift station box, and that's why I set it in the fashion I did. You can see that our conduit going in is slightly off-centered. It was drilled with a hole saw. It's secured inside the riser lid, and it's just above the 12-inch riser that's physically on the tank. As you can see here, got the plywood that is sandwiched and screwed in between the Poly-Lok ring. I've got my bolts installed. I've got, these are the Eyebolts. The other side has the carriage bolts. What I had to do, pulled all the wires out of the conduit, I marked them all. I reset them back up in here. You got your 2 feeds, and you got all your SJO jacketed cords now are running through a conduit. An easier install if you have to pull out one or more of these float switches to actually do a replacement. They can all be done from this tube without digging the ground. Accessing it, pulling the pot cover off, the Poly-Lok ring cover off, and pulling a new one in or out right at this location. Makes it a lot simpler, a lot less physical damage if you're putting a shovel in the ground that you have to dig this up at a later date. Conduit is the way to go. Now if you see this particular box, I've offset it to the corner. Now offsetting it to the corner gets it out of the way of my form. That is going to go around the perimeter of the box so that I can sandwich this in. As you can see, I've got some rough marks laid out on my screw end of the form. I've got to cut this out for the conduit to pass through here. It's going to be on a slight angle. And I've got a cutout mark on this side and a cutout mark on this side. And we've got 2 stakes cut out. And those stakes are going to be to form it off of this side, form it off of this side, so I can secure this corner together, because concrete is going to want to splay it out that direction and this direction where these won't be secured together anymore. I'm going to get you on the stand and show you a little bit of this process that I've got going on right here. Now once you've cut this to form this actual form around that, cutting the corner, that's why I did the other 2 forms first, because I knew I would be butchering one corner of the form and it would mess me up if I did them not in order. Now that we've got both of those cut out, I'm going to do a rough fit around the conduit that comes into the box. Now as you can see right here, I've got a center mark on my form. Measured the form point corner to corner was 40 inches. That's centered. My conduit coming out, because this form is centered from that side to this side and that side to that side. This form is centered so your concrete is even. That's going to make this center mark be off because the radius of the conduit. So ideally you want to set this over top. You want to mark up some lines on this side of the form and on the other side of the form. Transfer the lines, because that cut where this is radius is going to be on an angle. I wanted to elaborate that. If you all cut too much, you're going to have too much concrete spilling around this form. That's why I wanted to show you this. Now, I swept off the form after putting sand. I put sand and stone filament around the form. Inside, I put it on the outside. I've got to lift the sprinkler head up that you can see right there. But after you get it in, you're going to get some dirt on the form. You want to try to sweep that off because you want the concrete to lay right directly down on the plywood. Now we can't use a traditional tamp because of the clearances that we have. So what we're using today is known as the All-American 2x4. Take a 2x4, go around your form, and do your tamping. Get that soil tamped down on the inside of the form. The outside of the form doesn't really matter. That's to hold the form so it's uniform and it doesn't push to the front or to the back, causing your form to get out of whack. So we're at level. We're somewhat square. The squareness doesn't really matter because this form is formed to this lid. It doesn't mean that the septic risers are square, but you do want to lock it in. And as soon as I get this tamped down, I will show you what it looks like. Alright, I'm going to bring you in for a close-up of what this actually looks like. So, as you can see, our conduits are under the ground. The only conduit that will be going through the concrete, poured concrete, and the form is that little section right there. So if you do have to do a conduit replacement or repair, you could access it from here to there. I didn't encase all of the conduit into the concrete. We've got it tamped around. I got it walked around on the outside. I've got it tamped around on the inside down here. Now, if you look at this, there's a lip. I want the concrete to go from here, about 2 inches up past the bolt, all the way over to the form board, and I want it to fill all this void in here. Now, this one's going to take more concrete because I didn't put as much fill dirt in this one as I did in those two over there. Those two over there were 7 50-pound bags. This is going to take a little bit more. Now, I'm going to stand on top of this. You can see that it's plenty strong enough to hold 220 pounds. Now, looking down at this, looking for symmetrical, sorry about the shadow, it's somewhat symmetrical. It gets out at this junction where I tied it into the 4x4 sleeve. And if you look here, I got out a square on that. This board should have been that way about another inch to inch and a quarter, inch and a half that way. I am not going to fool with that. This doesn't really matter if it's square as much as it is that it's keyed in. You can see our points of where our eye bolts and our carriage bolts come in. That's going to key it in. Now you're probably going to ask this question, well, Ronnie, you used plywood on top of concrete and you put a plastic riser into it. Isn't that plywood going to rot because of the humidity and moisture in the tank? And yes, it will rot. It's a 1/2 inch thick. The concrete in this lid will probably go down about 1/4 to 1/2 inch for the thickness of the plywood. It's not going to matter. It's any of the rotten wood that does fall in is going to go into the septic tank, and it will be decomposed. As you can see, I've got the perimeters filled in. Get ready to start mixing concrete up. We'll pour the form in. We'll leave this form open until it cures. I'll take the form off, set the sprinkler head that you see right here back up to the appropriate height, and this job will be done. We're using a 5,000 psi fiber mix. It is an early set, 50-pound bags by Quikrete. We'll mix 2 bags at a time. About you, but that's boring to watch. Let's get to boring it. I don't know if I told you all, but if you're pouring around a round riser like the Poly-Lok that you see here, make sure you got the lid on it and a couple screws in it. It may come out around with the weight of the concrete pushing around it, and you're going to be cussing yourself later. I think that's enough. Now I poured this a little looser than I would like it, and she's wanting to belly out from the form. We spilled a little over the outside of the form, but that's okay. I'm just probably gonna have to sit here a couple hours and doctor this up so that the form will slip over the concrete. I don't want a rough edge. Oh darn, I got a little bit on you right there. Good as new. All I gotta do is put it back in. I think concrete's a messy proposition. Not for everybody. Burning the grass. Get in there. And there that goes. Tap on the form to relieve the air bubbles. Right now she's so loose, she's wanting to roll over. I'll come back at a little bit later and slick it out. All right, let's do a bag count on what we actually used today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and a third of a bag left over would make 8 2/3 of a bag of 50-pound bag of Saccharine. Doesn't seem like a whole lot, but the purpose of this video, show you all how to install a riser ring on your septic and lift station, and possibly being able to access all your service ports and making it easier through all 4 seasons. Look, I hope you all liked the video. If you did, give me a big thumbs up. Consider subscribing to my channel for future videos on things that Working Man Ron Doyle does. Until the next time, stay safe, God bless, and you all have a wonderful day.